Hello, so what is going, guys? Today I want to talk about some level designing and stuff. We are gonna create levels from scratch, but this is not some kind of another tutorial video where you see people speed run the level design. We are actually going to create it from scratch. We'll model our own assets as far as we can. We'll use some interesting sources to create levels, and we'll also study the perspective of how a level designer creates such huge open world levels. Like, you must have played other games like Prince of Persia and Assassin's Creed. They have huge open world maps and everything which are so optimized. So we are going to learn everything from a company standards. We learn everything from the perspectives of a level designer, an actual level designer, not those people who create speedruns on Unreal and Unity and give you just one screenshot. Because if you're designing a level, it should be navigational, like you're actually walking and navigating through it. So let's begin. So the very first thing, we'll learn the actual level design. We will start from the very scratch. We will create our own map style. We'll think which approach is more suitable for that. And I hope like this is like an 10 weeks courses or 12 weeks max to max, and I will be uploading videos every week. We'll go every step by step for this. This is the first course that I am doing now. Just a small things that I have worked on before, and I have worked on this most of the time. So there are some images that I am showing you that I have worked on. Now this was a modular kind of approach. Here I have used prefabs, and I want it to be darker because this was the side of the like a spaceship or a spaceship cargo. So I'll be also teaching you this modular constructions. Then this one is also a modular construction. This all is low poly and optimized. I worked on many projects. I worked on virtual reality projects. I worked on mobile projects. I've also worked for concept art. Also worked for a lot of multiple things. Like, so this is some of my work. So this is how I'm going to teach you. I'm going to teach you from the very scratch. We'll collect references. We'll even create documents to support our course. So first of all, this is not like some sort of concept design, because I see a lot of people just take 2 to 3 renders and then they start photoshopping it and say that, oh, it's a level. No, it's not. Trust me. And yes, what more we are going to start? We'll start with the very basics and mechanics of the level design, and then we'll slowly climb up the ladder to the environment mechanics. Now, what is this mechanics when I'm telling it around and around? So I will be telling you what it exactly is. Then we'll have player experiences, modular. Then we'll have different types of level designing, like what kind of approach is used by designers to create levels for multiple sources. We have Android, iOS, multiplayer. Now we'll very startingly start with modular because it is one of the most simplest and most easiest part of a level designing session. And then we'll shift to multiplayer, like how we could optimize the level so much that there are multiple accesses on a server that are using the map and no one is affected, or the FPS doesn't drop and they have a very good ping. And we'll also try to create a level for RPG. And now here's the exciting part, that which I'm really gonna show. We inspired from the Doom Eternal sequences and levels. I thought we would try to create one of them on our own form, like how those levels were actually so detailed, and so we'll study every single part and how we could create such an environment. Now it's quite obvious that will be a complete separate course. I will try to create that as well in a very separate different course. And the last two are the main and most important part, the design thinking for a level designing and principles of perfection. Like, there are some basic principles like how you can perfect your levels. You must have seen some of the levels from, I would say, Assassin's Creed. They are so huge, vastly open, vastly visible, but still so optimized. It even doesn't affect your FPS in so masculinity. That's a great example. If you have seen Odyssey, it has a very huge map and everything is optimized. And we'll also study how you can keep other sessions optimized, how you can keep completely entire map optimized, and using prefabrications and everything. So the very first software we will start from is very Photoshop. Now I assume most of you know the basics of Photoshop, because we are just going to use some basic shapes and nothing. We'll just use some basic shapes, some references, and we'll try to create a very scratchy map, a very small. We'll start with a room and then we'll slowly extend it towards like a hallway and then another room, like two spawn places and enemies are coming and everything. And I'll also be teaching you how to document a level design, like how a level design is being documented by professionals to keep a very good track of what you're actually going to create. So let's switch. Now the very first three things to keep in mind while designing a level. A level is just nothing but an interactive place where player takes a part in some sequence of events or anything. Now here the very three properties are player, space and mechanics. Now below there is an example of, here are four people. 1, 2, 3 and 4. These are known as players, even if you're NPC, even if you're enemy units, even if you're a single player person. These are considered units. And this all is known as space. Like you cannot go extend, so you use some kind of things to block out those spaces. Like here's a cliff, so this is a cave border, and this cave border makes it that only this space is playable, nothing else. And then there's a mechanics, like these are buttons. If you stand on these buttons, there are certain operations that will happen. If you stand on the stage to the corners, there are certain operations that will take place. There is a ladder. The ladder indicates that the person can go to the next room using the ladder. So these are the very three important things. Like a square is a space, and if you are playing inside the space, you are a player, and the things you use to interact is called mechanics. And now comes the blocking part. Now, after you have sketched out and outlined the whole of the map, so now what comes is the blocking part. So how the blocking works exactly is like you create dummy cubes just like in this image, and after you have been satisfied with the gameplay and fun, then you replace it with better graphics, with better cliff textures and everything. Because see, there are two major aspects for a game to be a popular one. The first one is graphics, obviously. The second one is the fun and enjoyment in the gameplay. We want our game to be graphically good as well and also enjoyable. We don't want people to be lagging and being a lot of like errors and bugs. So we'll also start with blocking after that. Then optimizing with testing. Now this is the main part. After we have created all the high poly models, after we have created all the models and everything, we have entered them. Now it's time that we optimize them for better performances. So we could create huge sceneries. We don't want a single room to be so heavy that we can't load the other rooms, right? So this is how we'll actually try to recreate something like this, like a market style level designing, and it should feel like a lot of public is walking inside and you have to walk through it. Now obviously I'm not going to teach you the programming part, how it's done, because even I will focus mostly on the designing part, but still something that looks like this will be your output. Not exactly this, but yes, it could be. We'll try it heavy. And thank you. And now for the very last, I am thinking of live streaming all the tutorials, so it will be more easier to connect with you all guys, and we are going to build levels from scratch, from zero. So that is something feels like yeah we should do. So please subscribe to my channel, and so you'll get the notification whenever I am going live with my tutorials, and that will be actually good, like, because when I will be teaching live, that actually makes a lot of sense than other things. And we'll be going step by step with everything. So the next video is about Photoshop and how we have to create an outline of a map and how it's readable.